Single mom's wrong text revealed life-changing surprise. Billionaire arrives with touching gift. Amelia's phone buzzed as she hurriedly wiped down tables at the diner. She was exhausted, balancing 2 jobs and an 8-year-old with an imagination bigger than Ohio's cornfields. Tonight, she just wanted to help Jake with his homework and unwind. But as she typed a message to her friend about her struggles and dreams for a better life, her thumb slipped. She hit send, and that text, meant for comfort, went to an unknown number. Hours later, after tucking Jake into bed, the phone rang. A response appeared from Ethan, a name she didn't recognize. "I'm here if you want to talk. I understand loss." His words pierced straight through Amelia's heart. Who was this man? Curiosity fluttered inside her like a cautious bird. "How did you?" she replied, her fingers shaking. The conversation quickly burgeoned, revealing the profound, aching loneliness they both felt. She shared glimpses of their life, her long shifts, Jake's vibrant spirit, and her dreams woven with threads of resilience. To her surprise, every word he said rang with sincerity. Days turned into weeks, and like clockwork, Ethan's supportive messages transformed into gifts for Jake: a soccer ball, art supplies, and even a pass to the summer camp. Amelia felt mixed emotions, a tight knot of gratitude and apprehension. As the gifts piled up, so did murmurs around town about the mysterious benefactor. What did it mean? Who was this kind stranger lurking in the shadows of their lives? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Then came the news: the community center was on the brink of closure unless they raised a hefty sum immediately. Panic swept through the streets like wildfire. Amelia's heart raced. The center was a haven for her and so many families. Ethan's reputation as the wealthy benefactor stirred nervous excitement. Doubt crept in when Amelia thought of his wealth possibly creating a divide. Can we trust him? She whispered to herself. The townspeople rallied, brainstorming fundraising ideas. Yet, whispers turned into chaos at the diner when Ethan approached, hoping to join the efforts. Tension crackled in the air, much like the electricity before a storm. "You're just a rich outsider," someone shouted, eyes narrowed. Amelia's pulse quickened. Could his intentions be misjudged? He was offering help, yet the community added this weight to his every gesture, a lifelong echo of their pain. In that moment, Amelia stood torn, watching Ethan's pained expression echo all her fears. How could she let him in, when every heart whispered the same caution? She knew trust was fragile, much like their dreams. As the night of the fundraiser loomed closer, doubt festered inside her. Could the glimmer of hope that Ethan offered, not only to them but to the whole town, survive the tempest of their voices? With emotions swirling in her chest, Amelia wondered, who would stand by her when the fibers of community and friendship were about to be woven into something transformative? Would they be strong enough to face the darkness? The flickering lights of the community center stood like a beacon, reminding her that hope and resilience could burn bright, but also flicker out. Would they find their way, or would it all come crumbling down? The day of the fundraiser dawned, bright but heavy with uncertainty. Amelia arrived at the community center early, the air thick with the smell of homemade pies and the sound of packing boxes rustling. Volunteers buzzed around, each one determined to pull the event together. Her heart fluttered as she set up tables, but her thoughts kept drifting back to Ethan. What would happen when he arrived? Would the townspeople see him as their savior or just a problem dressed in cashmere? It gnawed at her like a bad dream refusing to let go. She could still picture him, the earnest look in his eyes when he shared his own story of loss, how life had dealt him a hard blow too. Yet, that connection felt shaky against the backdrop of community whispers. As the clock ticked closer to the event's start, she caught sight of Jake's excited smile. He fluttered about with his little friends, their laughter sparking joy and a sense of normalcy in Amelia's frazzled mind. Reminding herself of her purpose to create a better life for him, she pushed her worries aside. "Mom! Can I help?" Jake squeaked, tugging at her apron. "Sure, buddy," she replied, ruffling his hair. Together, they arranged colorful decorations, and as they hung a banner, Amelia took a deep breath. This was their place, their home, a sanctuary. The thought of losing it felt unbearable. When the first guests began to trickle in, she made her rounds, smiling and thanking everyone for showing up. People milled about, shaking hands, exchanging stories, but she sensed a simmering tension in the air, ready to boil over. Then, Ethan arrived. Dressed casually yet smartly, he walked into the room with an air of confidence that made heads turn. The conversations faded, whispers began anew. "What is he doing here?" Some looked at him with curiosity, others with thinly veiled contempt. "Amelia." Ethan's voice sliced through the gathering storm, and he approached her with an easy smile. "I'm glad to see you." Her heart raced. "You made it," she managed, forcing a cheerful note into her voice. Before she could say more, Ethan's gaze shifted toward the crowd. "I came to help," he said, lowering his voice, though everyone could hear. "I have an idea that might work." But as he bared his plan, she couldn't shake the feeling that not everyone was ready to listen. Sure enough, a few voices rose up. "We don't need a rich guy telling us how to save our center," someone shouted, puncturing the fragile atmosphere. Amelia's stomach nodded again, but this time with resolve. Who else was there to save them? The weight of doubt mingled with the thread of hope in her chest. "Please," she interjected, her voice steady despite the trembling in her heart. "He's trying to help us. Let us at least hear him out." The room slowly quieted. Eyes darted between her and Ethan. Maybe, just maybe, they could give him a chance. Ethan stepped forward, sincerity radiating from him like warmth. "What if we turn this fundraiser into a community event? A place for us all to come together, share our talents, and raise the funds needed while celebrating what we have?" The suggestion stirred more murmurs, some faces already softening, intrigued. Others hardened, skeptical. Amelia stood by him, holding her breath as 1,000 emotions danced inside her. Would the light of their hope shine through the fears? Or would this moment fracture them further apart? She glanced at Jake, who was bouncing on his heels, wide-eyed at the unfolding drama. Could they really unify, break down barriers, and pave a path toward what had once seemed unimaginable? A deep breath settled in her lungs. "We have to try," she whispered, hopeful yet fearful. As the crowd began to shift, she realized it would take more than just a rich benefactor or a community spirit. It would take every heart involved to come together. But would they pull it off before time ran out? All eyes turned toward Ethan, waiting for his response. What would he do next? The room held its breath as hope and fear twisted in a delicate dance. Would they embrace this chance or let it slip away? Ethan took a moment, as if weighing the room's reaction against the vision in his mind. He cleared his throat, his blue eyes scanning the crowd with an intensity that drew them in. "Listen, I know I'm new to all of this. But I see a community full of talent, and I believe in finding strength in what we already have," he said, his voice steady. The people murmured, some nodding slightly, while others frowned in disbelief. Amelia felt her chest tighten, and she dared to cast a glance at Jake. He was staring up at Ethan, as though he held the answer to a heart's desire. "Let us have a talent show," Ethan continued, suddenly animated. "We can auction off skills, host games for kids, and create a potluck. It's not just about money, it's about showcasing what makes us unique. You're not just fighting to save this center, you're bringing everyone together in the process. Who's going to take the lead on that? A voice broke through, skeptical but curious. I will. Jumped in Jake, his small voice unexpected but proud. I can sing. And I can help organize. He bounced on the balls of his feet, eyes sparkling with excitement. Amelia chuckled softly, her heart warmed by her boy's eagerness. But another wave of tension rippled through the crowd. Who trusts a billionaire kid to lead something? Or do we really want to hand our community to someone who doesn't know us? Someone else challenged. Ethan didn't flinch. I might not know you all, but I want to learn. This is about you, not me. He offered a small smile, and for a moment, Amelia thought she saw actual warmth penetrate the wariness around them. A woman with weathered hands and tired eyes stepped forward. I've baked for this community center since I was your age, she said, voice quivering. But it's hard to believe a stranger can really help. Amelia's heart raced. She understood the pain and uncertainty. She stepped closer to Ethan, suddenly feeling protective of him. What if we give him a chance? She proposed, emboldened now. Let us show everyone what we can do together. A ripple of doubt washed over the crowd, but then Jake piped up again. Can we just try it? Please. You won't regret it. His innocent enthusiasm hung in the air, slowly teasing smiles from some in the room. Ethan turned to Jake, genuine admiration on his face. You're right. Let us put an idea into action. He looked back at the crowd. We could use a plan. How about a meeting to brainstorm ideas? Together. Amelia felt a flicker of excitement, but worry still fluttered within her. She sensed they were at a pivotal moment, the cusp of something new. How about we just focus on one event first, something simple, she suggested. A bake sale to get things rolling? Ethan nodded, a grin replacing the earlier tension. That's perfect. I'll bring some pies. What if we held it next weekend? Murmurs of agreement swelled, some eyes glistening with that glimmer of hope Amelia was beginning to believe in. Could they really start to bridge the gap between rich and poor, community and outsider? Could Ethan be the link they desperately needed? She felt her emotions bubbling up but kept a firm grip on them. What if this was the beginning of real change? But what if it all fell apart? As they began to organize, Amelia noticed the hesitant smiles around her, the cautious camaraderie budding like flowers in spring. The tension hadn't completely vanished, yet something felt different. And then she caught Ethan watching her. His expression was soft, like he understood her struggles far beyond words. It was a connection, a silent agreement that maybe they were embarking on something monumental together. Just then, a child squealed, breaking the moment, and Amelia turned her attention back to fleshing out the idea with everyone around her. But as she glanced at Ethan once more, a question gnawed at her. Would this really work, or were they just building a fragile tower that could crumble at any moment? The thought chased her like a shadow, leaving an uneasy feeling. With everything at stake, could this venture bind them or tear them apart? What lay ahead would shape their lives forever. The meeting continued, ideas flowing like water through an open tap. Everyone was aware of the stakes, yet the air felt electric with a new sense of hope. Amelia listened intently as voices floated around her suggesting themes for the bake sale, planning decorations, and deciding who would provide the tables. Jake, with his boundless enthusiasm, was right in the middle, collaborating with his neighbors as if they were all old friends. Ethan moved among the crowd, contributing tips he'd learned from high-profile charity events while gently encouraging those who seemed hesitant. It was clear that he was genuinely investing in their plans. There was something refreshing about someone with money and privilege wanting to be part of something grounded in community. Can we have a raffle? One woman proposed. I can donate a few hand-knitted scarves. Others chimed in, offering all sorts of items. Each new contribution added to the excitement swirling around Amelia, and her heart beat a little faster. Was it really happening? The more they spoke of it, the more the doubts began to fade. As laughter broke out and people shared stories from past events at the center, the air thickened with nostalgia. Good memories seemed to bridge gaps they hadn't realized were there. Amelia caught Ethan looking at her again, and this time, his gaze held something deeper, understanding mingled with reassurance. "Look," he said, raising his hands to quiet the room. "This is more than a bake sale. It's about supporting one another, sharing talents, celebrating our community. When people see your spirit, they'll want to be part of it too. I just know it." His words struck a chord in Amelia, echoing the very essence of what this center represented. It wasn't just a building, it was the heart of their neighborhood, a place of refuge and growth. Could Ethan really help them revive that spirit? Jake tugged on her sleeve. "Mom, can I get some cupcakes?" His eyes shone with excitement, bringing her back to the present, back to him. She chuckled at his exuberance, feeling a swell of love for both her son and the community that felt just a little bit closer now. "I think we're all about to become the best bakers in town," she replied, a smile on her face. As the evening wore on, they divided into small groups to start fleshing out the details. Amelia found herself brainstorming with two other women, their laughter mingling with the soft hum of conversations. It felt good to feel part of something that mattered. But then, a sound from the back of the room caught her attention. A voice, sharp with confusion, cut through the warmth. "Wait a minute. Let us not get ahead of ourselves. What if we don't raise enough money? What if it fails?" The room fell silent, and the mood shifted. Doubts crept back in, reminding Amelia of all the reasons this could fail. The weight of uncertainty settled like a fog, filling her chest. She opened her mouth to speak, but words failed her. What if this really was just a dream? No. We can do this. Jake's voice rang out clear and determined. "We're going to make it work. Right?" He looked around, the light from the overhead fixtures catching the sparkle in his eyes. The room remained hushed for a moment, hesitant smiles slowly returning as people exchanged glances. Ethan stepped forward, his presence calming. "Every great venture starts with a risk. But what we have right here is greater than any of our fears. If we stand together, we can make it happen." As the energy slowly lifted again, Amelia felt a new determination start to blossom within her. Maybe, just maybe, they could overcome their doubts. But as she caught Ethan's eye again, something nagged at her. Was this truly a step toward change, or was it just another fleeting moment of hope? As everyone went back to planning, Amelia took a deep breath. She sensed that a crossing point lay just ahead, one that could change everything for both the community and her family. The question lingered, could they really rise together and make a difference that echoed beyond this bake sale, creating something more lasting? With hope rekindled, Amelia realized one thing she wanted to find out. The following week buzzed with renewed energy. In the early morning light, Amelia watched as the community center transformed into a hive of activity. People brought flour and sugar, tables were set up, and laughter floated through the air, mingling with the rich scent of vanilla and cocoa. Each day felt like a step closer to something monumental, but with each cake batter mixed and each sign handcrafted, a whisper of uncertainty still clung to her heart. Amelia found herself caught between excitement and doubt. She was proud of the work being done, but in moments alone, the nagging questions returned. What if they still fell short? What if all this effort ended in disappointment? But every time her mind spiraled down that path, Jake's exuberance snapped her back. His bright smile and tireless excitement reminded her of why they were doing this in the first place. "Mom, look at this." Jake held up a batch of freshly baked cookies, slightly misshapen but perfectly golden brown. "Do they look okay?" She crouched to meet his eyes, her voice full of reassurance. "They look amazing. Everyone will love them." As the days turned into a blur of flour-covered hands and joyful chaos, Amelia developed a deeper connection with Ethan, who had continued to show up, helping them not just with ideas but with genuine enthusiasm. He shared stories about his childhood, revealing how he grew up in a small community much like theirs. His laughter felt like a balm to her worries. He even joined in the baking, proving that his heart was in this as deeply as everyone else's. But something else stirred behind his warm smile, and she noticed him watching her with a kind of admiration that made her heart flutter. It was comforting yet unnerving, an unexpected twist in the friendship that had blossomed during this whirlwind of planning. On the day before the sale, the community came together at the center for a final push. Tension filled the room as they packed up their goods, but laughter broke through as they shared last-minute plans and last-minute baked goods, an array of colorful cookies, pies, and cakes that promised to delight anyone who stopped by. Then, just as Amelia was arranging the tables outside, a loud voice called out, "Is everyone ready for tomorrow?" She turned to see Jake, arms stretched wide, his innocence shining through. The child was a natural leader, a small beacon of hope in their chaotic journey. "Almost there, buddy," she called back, her spirits lifting at the sight of him. Suddenly, Ethan stepped beside her, wiping his forehead with the back of his hand after helping to carry some heavy boxes. "You know, you're doing an incredible job," he said, sincerity crystal clear in his blue eyes. A flicker of warmth ignited in Amelia's chest. Maybe they could really pull this off. But then, the tone of the day shifted. A car pulled up, and a grand figure emerged, drawing glances from everyone. A well-dressed man stepped out, a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a box of pastries in the other. The chatter stopped, and all eyes turned toward him, curiosity piqued. Ethan turned to her, eyebrows raised. "Do you know him?" No confusion flashed across Amelia's face as she watched the man approach. The stranger made his way to the group, introducing himself as a supporter of community initiatives. "I heard about your bake sale, and I wanted to contribute something special." Her heartbeat quickened. What did this mean? As he handed Ethan the pastries, a stillness fell over them, leaving the buzz in the air as tense as a drawn bowstring. Could this be the turning point they needed, or another unexpected twist in what was supposed to be a joyous event? Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that tomorrow held both promise and uncertainty in its hands. Each soul around her felt that charge in the air, the moment thick with anticipation. Did they truly have the strength to change their future? With hope flaring brighter than before, Amelia felt that this was only the beginning. What would unfold tomorrow might just surprise them all. The sun rose the next day with a brightness that seemed to blanket the community in renewed hope. Shadows of doubt faded as Amelia stood on the steps of the community center, a warm breeze tousling her hair. The excitement in the air was palpable, the sound of buzzing voices and laughter intertwined with the last-minute preparations. Jake darted around, his enthusiasm infectious, every step a small celebration of what they were about to achieve. As the clock ticked nearer to opening time, the flock of customers began to gather, filling the street with their chatter. Amelia's heart raced as she stepped back and surveyed the long tables brimming with sweet treats, each one a testament to their hard work and solidarity. She felt a flutter of pride, but the stranger's presence from the day before still lingered in her mind. Who was he? What was his connection to their cause? "Take a deep breath," Ethan said softly beside her, as if sensing her anxiety. "You've done an incredible job. This is going to be great." His smile was more than reassuring, it was grounding. She squeezed his arm lightly, grateful for his steady presence. Just then, Jake held up a chocolate cake, almost as tall as he was. "Mom, look at this beauty. Can we sell it for $20? His eyes were wide with excitement, innocent determination reflected in every facet of his expression. Amelia chuckled, shaking her head. "Let us see how many people love it first." With that, they opened the doors. The crowd surged forward like a wave, excitement crackling in the air. Smiles lit up faces as they grabbed their favorite baked goods and mingled with their neighbors. Amelia watched with delight as her community embraced the fruits of their labor. Laughter echoed off the walls, vibrant and real. But then something caught her eye. The well-dressed man from yesterday was there, standing apart from the crowd, but his presence impossible to ignore. He was observing, a small smile playing on his lips as he took in the scene. Amelia felt a pull in her chest. Curiosity itched at her, and she realized she needed to find out why he was there. As she excitingly passed out cookies, she approached him, heart pounding. "Do you need something?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Not at all," he replied, still smiling. "Just wanted to see the community come together like this. You're doing something wonderful." "Thank you," she said softly, feeling warmth radiate from his words. "I just hope it helps." He glanced around, his eyes sparkling with admiration and a hint of something deeper. "I think it already is," he said. Suddenly, Jake bounded up to them, holding a cookie that was nearly as big as his hand. "Look! We made these." The man knelt to Jake's level, genuinely intrigued. "I bet that's the best cookie in town. What's your secret?" With his innocent charm, Jake launched into an enthusiastic explanation. Amelia couldn't help but smile at the two of them, one in awe of the other. But her joy was soon eclipsed by a pang of anxiety. What did the man see in their little sale? Would he really make a difference? Just then, there was a commotion at the entrance. A smaller child stumbled, sending a tray of cookies flying. In the chaotic flurry, Amelia's heart sank. She rushed over to help, lifting the child back to his feet, but inside, the anxiety was building. Would this moment shatter everything they'd worked for? As she gathered the scattered cookies, she felt Ethan's hand on her shoulder. Sometimes, it's the little mishaps that lead to something beautiful. Amelia nodded, the truth of his words bringing fresh hope. The crowd continued to buzz around them, a tapestry of laughter, joy, and life. But as she turned to face the man again, he was gone. A sense of loss washed over her. What did his silence mean? More questions arose in her mind as the sale continued around her, a swirl of bustling energy but some unanswered puzzle pieces flickering just out of her reach. As the afternoon wore on, hope swirled with uncertainty, the stakes high and the outcome unclear. What awaited them as the sun began to set? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, golden rays cascading over the community center, Amelia felt a swell of gratitude mixed with an undercurrent of anxiety. The sweet scents of cinnamon and chocolate lingered in the air, mingling with the sound of laughter and chatter that filled the space. Yet, she couldn't shake off the lingering thoughts of the man who had quietly observed them earlier. Who was he really? How are things going over here? Ethan's voice cut through her reverie, his smile warm and encouraging as he opened a box of remaining cookies. "Better than I expected," she admitted, forcing a smile. "But there's still so much uncertainty." His brows furrowed slightly. "You're doing perfectly. Just look at how many people are enjoying themselves." Glancing across the crowd, Amelia noted families gathering, chatting, and sharing treats. Children giggled as their parents snapped photos. It felt surreal and heartwarming. Yet, in the back of her mind, the stranger's presence loomed large. She needed answers, but there was no time to dwell when Jake came rushing in. "Mom! There's a raffle too. Can we enter?" His sparkling eyes danced with excitement. "Of course. What's the prize?" "A week of ice cream," he proclaimed, arms flailing. "Can you imagine? Every day. And there are really cool flavors. Can we? Can we?" Amelia couldn't help but laugh, but her heart skipped a beat. Ice cream for a week sounded like a dream come true, especially in this heat. "Sure. Let us get you entered." As she guided Jake to the signing table, her eyes flickered around again, searching for the mysterious man. It was a distraction she couldn't afford. Tables were starting to thin out, and she needed every hand for the cleanup. But part of her felt strangely compelled to find him, to understand why he had come and left so quickly. Suddenly, through the chatter, a loud crash echoed from the opposite end of the center. Amelia turned, her stomach dropping when she saw a table tipped over, treats scattering across the floor. Panic surged within her. "Jake! Stay here!" she instructed, quickening her steps. People rushed to help, but Amelia's focus was sharp. She reached the scene, breathing fast, heart pounding in her chest. A couple of chairs had toppled over, and one of the volunteers was trying to gather up the broken cookie remains. "Are you okay?" Amelia asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. The volunteer nodded, though a hint of distress crossed her face. Just as Amelia began to feel a small sense of relief, she looked up and saw a familiar figure standing nearby the stranger. He didn't blend into the chaos, he stood out, exuding a calm confidence as he surveyed the aftermath. "What is he doing here?" she thought, feeling a jolt of both trepidation and curiosity. Suddenly, he turned his gaze toward her. Their eyes met, and in that instant, she felt something deeper spark between them, something electrifying yet heavy. Before she could process it, he took a step forward, approaching the cluster of commotion. Amelia's heart raced. Perhaps the answer she sought was closer than she thought. "Excuse me," she called out, forcing herself to break free from the pile of worries that wrapped around her mind. "You," she said, pointing at him, aware that the crowd was beginning to quiet as they realized who had entered the ring. "You were here yesterday. What do you want? Why are you here?" His gaze softened. "I was intrigued by what you were doing here. I think I may be able to help." "What does that mean?" Amelia pressed, feeling endless possible scenarios rush through her mind. A flicker of emotion crossed his features. Concern? Sympathy? "Let us talk. Can you spare a moment?" he asked, gesturing toward the side of the bustling center, away from the chaos. For a moment, Amelia hesitated, drawn between her protective instincts and her curiosity. The world around her faded, the noise diminishing as she locked eyes with him. What would he reveal? Could his involvement turn everything around? With her heart pounding, Amelia felt the weight of the moment pressing against her chest. "All right," she said, voice steady, stepping away from the chaos. "Let us talk." But as they turned to find a quieter space, a loud crack of thunder echoed through the sky, sending a clear signal that the storm was beginning to brew. What surprises awaited Amelia in the eye of the storm? The rain began to fall just as Amelia and the stranger stepped away from the bustling crowd. She glanced behind her, catching Jake's eager face, his hands still clutching the raffle ticket. She could feel the nervous flutter in her belly as she turned back to the man. "Are you sure we should talk?" she asked, glancing at the sky. The storm seemed to promise more chaos than they had just witnessed. His answer came quietly, flaring with an intensity that made Amelia shiver even amidst the warmth of the community center. "We can't ignore this connection, Amelia. There is something important about what you're doing here and I want to help, but you need to trust me." Trust. The word hung heavy in the air. Amelia had built her life around being cautious. She had no choice but to be protective, especially since becoming a single mom. "What do you know about me? About this event?" she pushed, crossing her arms. The faint scent of rain mixing with the sweetness of cookies was almost too comforting for the gravity of the moment. "I know you care deeply about your community and that you're trying to bring joy to those around you," he replied, his voice calm yet firm. "I watched you work tirelessly, putting this event together. And I know that chaos can sometimes seep in when we least expect it." Amelia swallowed hard. "That doesn't explain why you're here now, or why I should let you into this part of my life. Because I can help you in ways you may not see yet," he said. "Let us face it, you have a lot on your plate. I can assist financially or with resources. I can use my connections to help make your vision for this community greater than you ever imagined. His words resonated with her, but they also surged a flood of alarm. Are you one of those people who swoops in to save the day because you think we can't do it ourselves? I don't need a white knight. Not a white knight. Just someone who believes in the potential this place has. And in you, he said, his tone softening. Somewhere deep in her heart, Amelia felt a tiny spark of hope, but it was quickly smothered by doubt. If you're really here to help, why didn't you introduce yourself right away? Because I wanted to witness it all first. I hope to understand the heart behind the effort. But now that I've seen it, I can't ignore it. His gaze fixed right on her, as though he could reach straight into her thoughts. And neither can you. There it was again, the pull. Yet, another flash of thunder echoed, shaking the ground beneath them. Rain poured with urgency now, pounding against the roof, matching the pounding of her heart. With every raindrop, uncertainty swelled inside her. Okay, fine, she said, biting her lip. Let us say I consider your offer. What's your name? Carter, he replied, his eyes sparkling through the shadows, as if holding unspoken promises. What would it take for you to believe in me? Just trust, Amelia responded, her voice barely above the sound of the rain. And time. The moment stretched, like the heavy clouds above. She felt torn. Carter seemed genuine, yet a fear flickered in her gut, the fear of opening up, of vulnerability. Before she could voice another thought, a loud clap of thunder rang out, pulling them both back to reality. Let me show you something, Carter said suddenly, stepping back, his expression shifting to determination. What? She felt a mix of curiosity and trepidation flooding her. Something that might change everything. Come with me. As he led her outside into the downpour, she couldn't shake the feeling that life as she knew it was about to shift dramatically. Could this storm wash away the weight she carried? With every step they took, Amelia knew she was stepping into uncertainty, but could it really lead to new beginnings? And what secrets would the storm reveal? The rain whipped around them, a wild dance of droplets that turned the world into a blur of color. As they stepped onto the slick pavement, Carter's grip was steady, guiding her as if he'd done this 1,000 times before. She hesitated only for a moment, the warmth of the community center receding behind her, but his enthusiasm was infectious. Where are we going? She asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the chaos of the storm. Just trust me, he said, that look of determination still etched on his face. You'll see. They moved through the echoing raindrops, the pounding sound filling her ears and breaking up her racing thoughts. This stranger, Carter, felt both exciting and terrifying. Each splash beneath their feet hindered her thoughts to rationalize the leap she was taking. But what if he was right? What if giving in to trust could lead to something beautiful? They rounded a corner, and Amelia caught sight of a small park, usually vibrant with children and laughter. Tonight, it was empty, save for an old gazebo, its structure creaking against the thrumming sound of the rain. Here, he said, stopping abruptly beneath the gazebo's shelter, looking like a hero in the storm. I know this place means something to you. Amelia blinked. How do you know that? I've been watching, remember? His smile was soft, an anchor in the turbulent atmosphere. I can see the warmth you bring to everyone here. You turned this place into something special despite the weight on your shoulders. Amelia shifted on her feet, a scribble of embarrassment coloring her cheeks. She had poured her heart into planning the community event, transforming that little park into a hub of joy. Yet, the thought of her struggles, her fears of failure, overwhelmed her. What if I fail? She asked softly, feeling exposed. What if I don't have what it takes? Failures are just stepping stones to succeeding, he replied with a deep conviction that made her heart beat just a little faster. You've been doing this alone for so long. But what if he paused, searching her eyes as raindrops slid down his face? I could help lighten that burden. Not to take over, but to be a support. Amelia chewed her lip, her mind battling the branded lessons of caution. But somewhere, buried deep in her heart, a burning flicker of hope sparked again. If I say yes, she began slowly, what does that really mean? It means we explore together, he said, his expression earnest. You won't lose your vision for the community. You'll have additional resources. But more importantly, you won't have to shoulder this alone anymore. She felt warmth spread through her, but the fear still gripped tightly at her heart. What's in it for you, Carter? He stepped closer, that piercing gaze holding hers. I believe in lifting each other up. I've seen the impact you've created here, and I want to be part of that. Life's too short to go at it alone. A tender smile tugged at her lips before doubt crept back, and this was a community she built from the ground up. The fragility of it stung, like the cold raindrops on her skin. I've been burned before by people who promised to help, then let us start with trust, one step at a time. Amelia took a deep breath as thunder rumbled once again, reminding her of the chaos that surrounded them. The storm felt alive, and she sensed more than just rain. There was a promise in the air, a whispered invitation to embrace change. What if we take it slow? She suggested, her heart racing. Slow is great, but I promise, you won't regret exploring this with me. As their gazes locked, she felt her defenses start to melt away, replaced by the thrill of possibility. What if she took a chance? What if the storm opened a door to something she hadn't even dreamed of yet? With a nod, she whispered, okay. Let us see where this goes. And as they stood beneath the shelter of the gazebo, surrounded by the symphony of rain and opportunity, the air shifted. But just as they began to chart this unfamiliar territory, a flash of light illuminated the skies above, sparking a greater uncertainty within. What else would this storm unveil? The following days were a whirlwind of emotions for Amelia. Embracing Carter's support unleashed a tide of hope in her heart, breaking through the walls she had built. They met at the community center daily, brainstorming ways to revitalize the space, drawing in neighbors to share their input. Together, they transformed the once often ignored little park into a canvas of possibilities. The idea of a community garden took root, and they began enlisting volunteers to help sow the seeds, both literally and metaphorically. Amelia watched with wonder as people rallied around, from old friends to new faces, Jake's friends eagerly wanting to dig in the dirt. Everything felt charged with life, a pulse that thrummed through the air. Yet amid the delight, doubt would occasionally creep in, leaving Amelia wondering if she truly could handle it all or if she'd end up disappointing them once again. She felt herself teetering on a precipice between exhilaration and fear. Just take it one step at a time, Carter reminded her gently on one of those days when doubt clung to her like a fog. You're not alone anymore. You've built a bridge to possibility, and I want to help you walk across it. His faith fueled her fire as they spoke about how to make the garden sustainable, from composting to creating educational programs for children and cooking classes for families. Each discussion brought a smile to her face, and the way Jake's excitement never waned filled her with a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Then came the day of the community gathering, a celebration of their progress and a launch of the garden project. Amelia stepped outside, nervous but excited as she stood at the entrance of the renewed park. Bright banners flapped in the warm breeze, laughter floated through the air like sweet music, and familiar faces flooded the area. She spotted Jake carefully demonstrating how to plant seeds to a group of kids, their enthusiastic voices rising above the crowd. A sense of pride surged in her heart. The garden was more than just soil and seeds, it was hope, connection, and a future renewed. She felt the ache of fatigue fade away, replaced by an electric sense of accomplishment. Carter appeared at her side, his presence steady and reassuring. You did this, Amelia, he said, gesturing toward the scene. You opened the door for your community. Today is a reflection of your strength. Those words, deeply affirming, spurred a smile from Amelia. It was a perfect culmination of everything they had worked so hard to build, from their initial hesitation and striving onward to the present moment, where a multitude of neighbors had gathered to celebrate. But just as the celebration seemed to be at its peak, the well-dressed man from their bake sale reappeared, walking toward them with a confident stride. "Good to see you both," he said warmly. "I've been watching the progress, and it's been remarkable. Can we discuss something important when you both get a moment?" A flicker of anxiety rippled through Amelia as she and Carter exchanged glances. "Of course," Carter said. "Just give us a minute." After a few brief moments of animated conversations with the community, Amelia led Carter and the man to a quieter area. The bustling energy seemed to slow as her heart beat faster with each step. "So, what's on your mind?" she asked cautiously, crossing her arms protectively. The man smiled, but it held a hint of seriousness. "You've inspired so many already, and I wanted to help take this even further. I represent an organization that funds community projects just like yours. We'd love to partner with you to expand your garden into a community hub, one that allows for job training, workshops, and much more." Amelia's breath caught in her throat. Was this really happening? Had they truly captured the attention of those who could amplify their efforts so significantly? "Really? You're serious?" she stammered, hardly able to contain her astonishment. This was more than she had dared to dream. "Absolutely. With the momentum you've built, I think we can develop something extraordinary. That serves your community in ways you'd never imagined," he replied, his animated approach infectious. "You just need to decide if you want to take that leap." In that moment, the doubts she had battled seemed to dissipate. Carter's support had given her the courage to be open to possibilities, and now, this chance shone brightly before her. She glanced at Carter, who was looking at her with expectation, that same encouraging gleam in his eyes. "We have to," Amelia breathed, feeling light floods of conviction fill her spaces of uncertainty. "We have to try. What do we have to lose?" As they began discussing how to turn this vision into reality, Amelia felt renewed. She could see a path stretching before her, one where collaboration and trust would drive growth, not just for herself or her dreams, but for her entire community. Later that night, as she tucked Jake into bed, his excitement about the day poured out in babbling as he relayed every moment. Smiling wide, he practically buzzed with ideas for tomorrow. "Mom, can we plant more things? And what about a vegetable patch?" he asked eagerly, those bright little eyes wide with possibility. "Of course, buddy. But we're going to need to recruit some more helpers," she said, hugging him tightly. With a sense of awe and accomplishment, Amelia felt a shift within her. She wasn't just surviving anymore, she was living. The shadows of uncertainty began to fade, and in their place came an unwavering belief in herself, and in the community she was fostering with her own hands. As she glanced out the window at the park glowing softly in the moonlight, hope swirled within her. This was just the beginning. Together, trusted, united, they would gather strength and overcome anything. And as she drifted to sleep, she realized the storm had brought them transformation that would grow beyond her wildest dreams, feeding the roots of resilience that bound them all. This was their new beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. True fans know the importance of showing support through these actions. Don't wait not even one more second to share.